Hello, you. I'm so happy to see you. Well, I guess I should say I wish I could see you. Um, this Zooming stuff has become so much a part of my life and your life that as I prepared to do this morning, I found myself not only fixing my hair and putting on some lipstick, I put on some perfume, which seems so silly, but I've blended this being together on Zoom and in person so much that it just got the best of me. And all I can say is I hope that next time we're together, it is in person and we get to hug each other and we get to talk freely without masks, and we can have some semblance of normalcy that we had for so many years. Now, today's message is called Aging Part 4. Margot was right. And I think since I've been talking to you in these messages for almost 20 years now, you probably know that sometimes I talk to you about things I think you don't know about, and you maybe learn something new. And other times I talk about things that you already know or that are obvious, but I think they're things that are so important that they need to be said once in a while. And that would be things like, I love you, and I like to be with you, and you're doing a good job, and I'm proud of you. These are things we should be saying all the time to each other. You can't overstate those things. Things that reassure us that we're seen and that we're not alone in this world. Now, because this is Aging Part 4, you may have missed or forgotten what I said in parts 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to do just a quick review. When I gave my first message on growing old was the year I turned 60. And what I said in that message was that I understood that being 60 was being officially and culturally old. And it happened to me. I mean, there I was, a vibrant middle-aged woman, and then I was suddenly 60, and somebody gave me a t-shirt that said, "Over the hill." And I said, "What hill? I didn't see any hill." And it was, well, now there's a book called Suddenly 70, and I've avoided that one because I'm quite aware that I'm 70. Anyway, that day after the message, Rick Warsh, who was a beloved and long-time member of the UU, came up to me afterwards and he said, "You're just getting started on this aging thing." And of course, he was right. Garrison Keillor says, "Nature is relentless. It programs degeneration into our DNA. Even if you're positive thinking, hopped up on Viagra, and your face has been lifted and stapled to make you look like a younger version of yourself, nonetheless, you will eventually look like something from the Lost Lagoon and have the sex drive of a smoked salmon. Nature doesn't care about your golden years. It's programmed for turnover." When I was 64, I gave my second message about aging. And that day I talked a lot about the physical realities. When we learn the truth of that old adage that we didn't pay anything for our bodies, but the maintenance upkeep is very high. And my emphasis that day was on the physical and social changes that come with being over 60. And we all know people who sail right through 60 and even 70 and beyond in the strong winds of old age, but more others begin to fail and have debilitating illnesses, and we lose our parents and we lose our friends, some to death, some to illness, some to dementia, some who decided to move closer to their families. You get liver spots, you slow down, you start hurting here, there, everywhere. And it's not just the physical aches and pains that get to you, it's it's the loss of dignity that goes along with aging. It kind of evaporates in small but noticeable ways. Like I remember the first time I went out to eat with my daughter, which I'd done all her life. And the first time the waiter addressed her and gave her the bill. And I almost felt like I was a little Grammy sitting there in my wheelchair while my daughter took care of me. And I'm sure I was in my 50s, but it was a startling moment. And in general, we lose our ability to influence. And it seems to me that a successful old age is characterized by how well we cope with loss, with all kinds of loss. My third message on growing old was called The Good Parts of Aging, because there are good things about aging. There are terrific things about aging. Mainly, it's that throughout most of our life, we're kind of defined by the roles created by our families and our culture. We're parents. We have roles in our careers and in our activities and community, but as we age, we're often able to let go of those roles and those identities and awaken to a new freedom and to become more fully ourselves. And that's enjoyable. Old age allows us to be unconstrained in ways that we were in previous chapters of life. And that's a good thing. Oh, my 90-year-old friend, Helen Jane, said to me that she liked being 90 because it was so easy now. She said, whatever I do, my friends are just amazed that I'm even still alive. She says, there are no expectations for 90. So I found being young and essential very interesting, but being old is easier and a lot more comfortable. And I know I'm becoming more and more forgetful. That worries me. And then again, some of life is just as well forgotten. So here we come to part 4 of my thoughts on aging, called Margot Was Right. Now, when I was 66, I gave that third part about aging, and Margot Warsh, Mrs. Rick Warsh, came up to me after the coffee and she said, just, very gently, well, and of course there's grandchildren. And it just kind of stopped me in my tracks. It had not even occurred to me to mention grandchildren. I mean, not only did I not have any grandchildren, I didn't consider getting one very likely or very desirable. I wasn't sure I wanted a grandchild. And I told all of my best girlfriends, who are all gooey-eyed grandmothers, that I didn't particularly like babies and that I felt no real desire to be a grandmother, that the role just didn't interest me. And then in 2005, along came my little Zoe. And one look at my newborn, pink-cheeked, golden-haired granddaughter, and I was astonishingly, profoundly changed. And I learned that a grandchild fills a space in your heart that you didn't even know was empty. And I learned very quickly that all my girlfriends had been snickering behind my back for years with my clear attitude toward being a Grammy, because they knew something I didn't. Well, Zoe is 6 now, and I could spend an hour talking about the joys of having her in my life, especially because she lives down the street and I have lots and lots of time with her. I just returned from California to visit with my son and to meet his first son, who was so little that while I was there, he learned to smile. And my daughter is having a second child this summer, and his room in my house is all ready for him. So the point is, I now know what a lot of you have known for a long time. I think there's an unaccustomed joy that comes with a grandchild. It's a joy that I've not had in any other relationship. No cowboy was ever faster on the draw than a grandparent who wants to show you photos of their grandchild. In fact, I happen to have one right here. Here's my little Zoe. I'm not sure you can see it, but there's her mommy and her stepdad, and she's a firecracker. Okay, I did it. My fellow grandparents agree that it is an astonishing relationship. It's as marvelous as finding in winter a solitary rose growing on a withered branch. Actually, it's not like that at all, but you get the gist. The realization that life is just a string of people, just one generation after the other, going on forever, suddenly comes home to you in a way that you can never really understand until you have a grandchild. And of course, my Zoe is cute and clever and funny and smart. But best of all, she thinks that I am cute and clever and funny and smart. With every look and every giggle and every smile, she's saying, "You are fantastic. I love being with you." You know, we don't really love people for how they look or who they are or even what they do. We love them for how they make us feel. And what makes you feel better than your grandchild thinking you're swell? I feel young again, and I feel needed again. And being needed by anyone when you're old is a real treat. To be needed because you can look after these delightful creatures that are your grandchildren is a doubly delicious treat. You know, the Welsh say that perfect love does not come until you have a grandchild. I have to agree with that. Oh, Margot, thank you for saying it. You were right. In every generation, wise people have told us that life is an inevitable journey of predictable stages from birth to death. What I know now, and what I wish I had known much earlier, is that life is a miracle and a mystery and a gift. And if we're not making it possible for ourselves to enjoy every single part of it, we're missing something important. I think it's appropriate to end with this poem from Mary Oliver called "I Worried." I worried a lot. Will the garden grow? Will the rivers flow in the right direction? And will the earth turn as it was taught? And if not, how shall I correct it? Is my eyesight fading, or am I just imagining it? Am I going to get rheumatism, arthritis, dementia? Finally, I saw that all my worrying had come to nothing, and finally gave it up. And I took my old body and I went out in the morning and sang. May it be so with you.